Let's talk about making your own cookbook, educate to test drive. Also, instructions and demands are always correct. No 4/13 of a cup of something in this book. Look at this sophisticated math, and by complete coincidence, both books released at the same time. This is Roadside Midnight, essentially stories from the Eastern Bloc, including essential life knowledge like uh, Two hours of sleep is better than no hours of sleep. A future classic no that. Both books available as paperback and hardcover, and also ebook just in case you don't want to spend all your hard-earned money at end of month. Links in description of video. Order one, order five, get one for your babushka. Good as Christmas present or just decorative piece and shop. What else better way to test drive the cookbook than by trying the most popular recipe? It is чебурек. История! Ага, look at this блин. Link to video, difficulty rating so you can show off your cooking skill to friends or maybe not just to your husband. Ingredients, tools you need, and instructions so simple you один can understand. Pretty much a big phrase per element. I don't even remember writing that, but it is true. Mix the flour. 400. What is this? Western Spanish? Ah, this right, I got the Western unit as well. So United American States can follow along. Egg. Egg we have. Ага, multi-tool. Бояк. What is specific amount of salt? Remember, the question is there. Why there is sugar and salty food? What? Why isn't there more? If you're a slave like me and buying budget sunflower seed oil, you could actually see sunflower oil instead, written on container. In which case use more. Who knows what part of plant you're using? If you not have half or 200 milliliter container for measuring water mass, use the trusted method of water. So what you want this? What? Is the vodka optional in shipwreck recipe? I suggest of course, but then you're not making shipwreck. And 400 grams of pork or beef mince. Блин, have drunk water when I wrote this book. There's way too many options. Fuck it, mystery meat. Cutting pork? Get a bookmark here. More like cutting pork. Сука, look at that. It is the real cookbook. It is not cookbook. Драй-ла-ла. Ah, who is new? Some flavor strip. And some bush if you like to taste. Traditionally, this light recipe supposed to be made at midnight, so it will never know we're cooking чебурек. Unfortunately, we have other plans to do for that time. Wait, mixed by hand. Ай, блядь, I was supposed to read food? Better has made it look even better. Now, you're supposed to use vodka bottle as rolling pin, which is made resembles more of a hip flask shape than a fortified grape juice bottle is гуся всюду. And remove some of the grease content. Every 5 grams of grease you remove, you use 5 seconds longer. Let the cream plates rain from the heavens and a small splash of mayonnaise. Oh no. Hey, we are not waste mayonnaise in this house. But I will say I cannot make this illustration, but designer did very good job, accurately capturing my emotion when I'm cooking, which is 70% pure red anger and 30% chiburiken. There is always a good feeling when you slice or bite into the first chiburiek of the day. Hey, shush. Now that is some good slow food. Now, you know, a true chiburiek must be able to be eaten by hand as one piece. And something about making enough for everybody else, but you know you will eat it all anyway. So, don't give everybody else your food, just give them the cookbook, because this is boring to prove. Now go cook something.
Unexpected food contaminants can ruin a great party, a family dinner, and your life. From produce teeming with bacteria to metal fragments in chicken, these Kroger recalls had people thinking twice about their purchases. Hepatitis A is an inflammatory disease of the liver that usually comes from consuming contaminated food or water. Due to its seriousness, any suspicion that a batch of food might be infected should be taken seriously. Thankfully, Kroger reacted promptly in 2019 when some of its very own frozen berries were found to be carrying the virus. After a sampling performed by the FDA, 3 frozen berry products put out by Kroger's Private Selection brand were found to be contaminated with hepatitis A. Triple berry medley in both the 16-ounce and 48-ounce sized bags, along with the 16-ounce frozen blackberries. Kroger reacted quickly, pulling the products in question from store shelves and contacting those who had purchased the berries, advising them to speak with their doctors if they'd already consumed the product. While the recall almost certainly ruined a few smoothie plans, it doesn't appear to have resulted in any sick shoppers thanks to quick action on Kroger's part. A full and complete list of allergens is arguably the most important element a product can feature, as an accidental rendezvous with something like gluten or peanuts can prove dangerous, in some cases even fatal for people with sensitivities. That's why the recent salad bowl recall at Kroger grocery stores had the potential to be so problematic. It involved an undisclosed allergen on a pre-packaged product. The Kroger Apple Walnut with Chicken Salad Bowl Kit is a ready-to-go meal featuring a fresh spring mix, grilled chicken chunks, chopped apples, dried cranberries, walnuts, blue cheese crumbles, and a sweet vinaigrette to top it all off. With nothing but a shake, you've got yourself a quick and healthy lunch, a lunch that appeared to be safe for those with other gluten sensitivities, seeing as there was no wheat listed on the label. Unfortunately, the label was incorrect, and Kroger's salad bowls were yanked from shelves in March 2024 on the basis of this undisclosed wheat allergen. Nearly 20,000 pounds of the product were recalled, but as of this video, the salad bowls appear to be available again with the allergen list updated. The original Moose Tracks ice cream flavor was made famous by the company Denali. The original recipe is a creamy vanilla base with peanut butter cups and chocolate fudge mixed in. Since its inception and incredibly positive reception among consumers, many companies and brands have recreated the iconic flavor. One of these is Kroger, whose multiple different Private Selection Moose Tracks ice cream variants are staples in its freezer aisle. However, in 2011, 10 states found the freezers of their local Kroger locations suddenly cleared out of their favorite peanut butter and chocolate dessert for a time. The Private Selection Denali Extreme Moose Tracks ice cream was recalled because it didn't list peanuts on the allergy label. Logically, it makes sense that an ice cream based on peanut butter would have peanuts.
With peanut butter? That's right. That's
It
right.
is!
That's right. Is it a peanut butter cup?
But such an omission could easily prove dangerous for someone who's not already familiar with what Moose Tracks is, for the sake of avoiding a potentially lethal bout of anaphylaxis and the many lawsuits that would produce. This particular recall, though it may have seemed unnecessary for many Moose Tracks lovers, was an important one. Most potato salad recipes call for eggs, which can make it hard for cookout guests with an egg allergy. But if you were shopping at Kroger in April 2024, you might have been excited to come across Simply Sides Jack's Potato Salad. The allergen label listed no eggs, giving the impression that at last you had found a safe side to provide to egg-sensitive guests. Unfortunately, the label on the back of this particular batch of Jack's was incorrect. An accidental swap had occurred between another of the company's products, resulting in Jack's Potato Salad being incorrectly labeled as egg-free when it wasn't. The affected batches were recalled from the 21 Kroger locations. Like most grocery stores, Kroger sells a number of different meats in its deli, ready sliced and perfect for a quick sandwich. But while lettuce, mayonnaise, mustard, or sliced cheddar make excellent toppings for an easy lunch, Listeria monocytogenes doesn't. In January 2004, Kroger's Private Selection roast beef was recalled from 20 different states after a sample taken from one of its counters in Atlanta, Georgia, was found to be infected. Listeria can lead to symptoms such as high fever, stiff neck, nausea, diarrhea, and in very young, very old, or immunocompromised individuals, it can even lead to death. The recall notice didn't mention exactly which flavors were affected, but did say that the private selection Angus roast beef and Cajun roast beef variants weren't contaminated. Just as it is in people, vitamin D is a necessary nutrient for our four-legged buddies. In extremely large doses, however, it begins to have the opposite effect, even to the point of becoming life-threatening. While commercial dog foods take care to maintain safe levels of all vitamins and nutrients included within their mixtures, one unfortunate mishap involving the vitamin D levels of dog food brands in 2018 caused a recall at Kroger and other grocery chains. Kroger's Abound chicken and brown rice dog food, alongside multiple other brands, was recalled in December 2018 after potentially deadly amounts of vitamin D were found as a result of FDA testing. The brands were traced to the same manufacturer, Sunshine Mills Inc., and 6 dogs got sick as a result of the incident. Exactly how this nutritional defect was corrected is unclear, but the recipe was apparently fixed, as the products are safely available on store shelves today. Since fresh produce
Cole Goober.
Please leave your message for Goober Pet Direct.
You're too late.
only lasts for a limited time, shoppers tend to pick it up pretty frequently. So if a dangerous bacteria is hiding out among the piles of greens at your local grocer, it has the potential to be a very serious problem, particularly if the issue affects multiple different products. In 2022, Kroger was hit with a Listeria infestation among its ready-made produce selection that resulted in more than 20 products being recalled.
If you bought any veggies recently from Kroger, you want to double check them.
This recall included a mushroom stir-fry blend, snacking peppers, asparagus sauté mix, diced red onions, 2 different types of salsa, layered bean dip, and a diced bell pepper and white onion packet, among many others. Despite the large number of items that were warned against, Listeria was expected to affect only a handful of them, since just one sample that had undergone the testing actually ended up being positive. The problem is, you can't really tell which products are infected until it's too late. Chips and dip are probably the most convenient party foods you'll ever find, but if you're laying out a spread of salsa, hummus, or cheese dip that's contaminated with bacteria, then every single chip you dunk becomes a gamble with your health. Talk about a party pooper. And in 2020, Kroger pooped on all the parties when it issued a recall on a whopping 17 different popular cheese dips, including jalapeno Jarlsberg dip, a pimento cheese dip, and a smoked Gouda dip, to name a few. Why? Because the onions in all the products came from one location that had been hit by potential salmonella contamination. While this was necessary given the health risks involved, it was no doubt disappointing for everyone trying to plan the perfect living room rager. Still, we'd argue that a brief bout of sadness is better than a case of salmonella. Ground beef is a versatile ingredient in too many dishes to count, but like anything else, it can come with a downside. If the contents of a cow's intestines get onto the eaten part of the cow when it's being slaughtered, it could contaminate the beef with E. coli. And since most ground beef at the store is a combination of many different moors, it's sometimes surprisingly hard to trace the contamination to its source. In 2008, Kroger found that many of its locations' meat departments were littered with infected packs. That recall was a particularly nasty one, with over 30 people in the states of Ohio and Michigan getting sick. One even went so far as to take legal action against the company as a result of their hospitalization. This is hardly the only instance in which the company has been forced to issue a recall for infected ground beef. In 2018, Kroger and other stores recalled millions of pounds of beef that had been potentially contaminated. But just remember that E. coli is destroyed by heat, so cooking your meat makes it safe. Bad news for everyone who takes their beef raw, good news for everyone else. Who doesn't have a bag of frozen chicken strips stashed away in their freezer for quick weeknight dinners? Chicken strips are a go-to for busy nights, and Tyson is perhaps one of the most well-recognized producers of the popular product. However, an incident in 2019 had many shoppers reaching into their freezers and tossing those bags right into the trash. Why? Chunks of metal. That's right, 32 retailers, including Kroger locations in 6 states, were forced to recall 11 million pounds worth of frozen Tyson chicken strips after multiple consumers reported that they'd found small metal fragments inside the meat.
Definitely something you don't want in your chicken.
And since folks generally found these metal chunks by biting into a chicken strip, at least 3 people reported oral injuries. The massive recall covered dozens of states and international locations alike. And apparently, that's not the only time it happened. In November 2023, Tyson also recalled 30,000 pounds of their Fun Nuggets for the same reason.
Some customers said they found small pieces of metal inside the dinosaur-shaped chicken patties.
Spinach is an incredibly nutritious vegetable that's chock full of antioxidants, potassium, vitamin K, iron, and more. But if that bag of beautiful leaves you picked up from the store makes you sick with listeria, you aren't going to care how healthy it is. In 2021, Kroger's 10-ounce packs of spinach sold in 15 different states found themselves under suspicion for listeria and were immediately put on recall. Though it appears no one fell sick before the product was pulled off the shelves, the fact that it's relatively common for harmful bacteria to be present on spinach is off-putting, to say the least. Listeria is another bacteria that's destroyed by high heat, aka cooking it, but the fact that spinach is often eaten raw in salads and wraps makes this especially insidious. It's an unfortunate reality. Sometimes, in order to alert companies to the fact that there's a recall-worthy health risk involving a product, citizens must first become sick. That's exactly what happened in 2012, when a far-reaching outbreak of salmonella led to more than 470 reported cases across 43 states, including 6 deaths. At first, the source of the ever-spreading illness appeared to be a mystery, but the FDA pinned it on peanut butter produced by the company Sunland Inc. The product was immediately pulled from the aisles where it was sold, but in the days that followed, the recall extended to whole nuts, as the true source of the outbreak was revealed to be peanuts from a manufacturer that had provided the peanuts from many other companies like General Mills, Kellogg's, and others. Since potentially infected peanuts had made their way into so many products from different brand names, a massive food pullback unfolded across U.S. grocers, Kroger included. Quaker Oats has become a household name, with its products gracing the aisles of what feels like every grocery store in the United States. From oats and cereal to granola bars and rice cakes, Quaker's breakfast and snack products are plentiful, which becomes a problem when they might be harboring salmonella.
These are no ordinary oats.
In December 2023, word came down from the Quaker Oats Company. A number of its granola bar and cereal products were potentially carrying Spinach is an incredibly nutritious vegetable that's chock full of antioxidants.
Cucumber salads are going pretty viral on the internet right now, so I thought, why not make 3 different recipes to show you how easy they are to make. One of them is the viral recipe, which is just a cucumber, smoked salmon, onion, capers, and cream cheese salad. And I've also got a Korean-inspired cucumber salad, and I've also got a cucumber salad out of my new cookbook, Dig In, and let's find out which one is the best. Now, starting off with the first one, we're going to need 1 large cucumber. This is quite a large cucumber, and what we want to do with this is slice this into thin rounds. Now, you can use a mandolin if you have one and like using them, or you can just thinly slice it with a knife, which is exactly what I'm doing. Try your best to get them as consistent as possible. Using a mandolin, of course, is going to get that accuracy, but if you're accurate with a knife, it doesn't really matter. And what you should have is something that looks like this that can be placed into a bowl. We're then going to need half of a red onion. Lay this in the half moon position. You can leave the core in or take it out. The choice is all yours. Thinly slice this the whole way across. When you get about 3/4 of the way through, lay the onion down again flat, and then you can continue slicing safely without it wobbling around everywhere. For some fresh herbs, I'm using 2 grams or 0.2 ounces of fresh dill, one of my favorite herbs. It just goes perfectly in everything. Scrunch this up a little bit and then roughly chop. Doesn't need to be too fine, and you can leave a little bit of stem in there as well because the stem has a lot of flavor. You should have something that looks like this. Last but not least, for the knife work on this one is 2 teaspoons of capers. Wash these under cold water and then roughly chop. They don't have to be too fine, just make sure they're not whole. You can go 1 step further and fry these off in some oil for some crispy capers. Again, that choice is all yours. Into our bowl with the cucumbers, we can add our red onion. Make sure you scrape it all in there. All of that fresh dill, the chopped up capers, 2 tablespoons of cream cheese. Then what I have here is 80 grams of smoked salmon. I'm just going to tear this up, adding it into the bowl. And you don't have to do this if you don't want to, but cream cheese, smoked salmon, and dill is a beautiful combination. Now, the viral recipe of this does use monosodium glutamate, better known as MSG, but I'm going to start off by using salt and pepper, mix it around, taste it, and then see if it does need that flavor enhancement. So we'll hit this up with a little bit of salt. Just going to start off with a small amount because smoked salmon is quite salty. And of course, hit it up with some cracked black pepper. When that's all in, you can start mixing this around. What we're mainly concentrating on here is mixing up that cream cheese, making sure that it's coating everything. And if you've seen this type of recipes online, you'll notice that they use big plastic containers for this and then shake it. If you have them, go for it. I unfortunately couldn't get the large containers. I do only have small ones. So with this amount of ingredients, it's just not going to work. Once that's all mixed through, just give it a taste. Personally, to me, doesn't need MSG, but because we are doing that recipe, I am just going to add just a tiny little bit. Mix it around again and try it again. I mean, it's not much different at all. You can definitely taste the MSGs in there because every time you take a bite, you just want to keep going back for more. It makes your mouth salivate. That's definitely what it's doing. Is it necessary? No. Can you add it? Yes. Choice is all yours if you want to do that yourself. Once that's done, you can then plate this up. And yeah, I know I'm using these little containers, but this is what the original recipes use. Of course, serve it up in a bowl. And right there is seller number 1. Cucumber smoked salmon, red onion, capers, dill, and a little bit of cream cheese. Super simple to make and tasty. Now for our second salad, we are going to need 1 large cucumber again. We're going to be slicing it into rounds as well, but this time we're going a little bit thicker. What we want is about 1 centimeter to 1.5 centimeters in thickness. I do recommend using a knife for this one. Most mandolins probably won't allow you to cut something this large, but you might have one that does, so use that if you like to use it. Along with the cucumber, we're going to need 2 spring onions or scallions. Usually I'd separate the roots from the stems. This time we're just going to slice the whole lot, nice and thin the whole way across, and the whole amount is going to be used in the salad. For the herbs, I'm using coriander or cilantro for this one. This is 2 grams or about 0.1 ounces. Scrunch it up, roughly chop it, make sure there's no large leaves or stems, and you should have something that looks like this. Into the bowl with the cucumber, we're going to add the spring onion or scallion and the coriander or cilantro. For the sauce, 2 teaspoons of light soy sauce, 2.5 tablespoons of rice wine vinegar, 2 teaspoons of sesame oil. This is toasted sesame oil. 1.5 teaspoons of gochujang. This is a Korean chili powder, and I'll leave details about this in the description. 2 teaspoons of sesame seeds. Toast them or untoast them, it's up to you. And 2 teaspoons of honey. Just make sure you scrape it all in there. One last thing we can add is a little bit of ground white pepper or cracked black pepper, it's up to you. I don't recommend adding salt just now, just because there is a little bit of soy sauce in there and we don't want to over-season this. With that all in, start mixing this all together. And by the way, those chili flakes aren't that spicy at all. What gochujang is it actually uses the outside of the chilies rather than the seeds, so it's a little bit more mild. I do also recommend just giving it a taste as well, seeing if it does need salt. Again, you can add MSG if you want. That choice is all yours. With that done, let's then serve this one up, doing again in the same containers, but put them in bowls if you want to, and just top it off with a little bit of that sauce. And then with that done, we have salad number 2. And this one is a Korean-inspired cucumber salad. Now, the last salad is actually out of my new cookbook, Dig In. Orders have started rolling out today for Australia and New Zealand. If you are in other places of the world, as stock arrives in the warehouses, it will start to be shipped out soon. If you haven't grabbed a copy, the link is in the description. Go grab yourself one. You definitely won't be disappointed. When your book does arrive, please do send me pictures of it. I would love to see it. Use Instagram, email, or even Facebook. And the recipe that we're doing today is this cucumber, tomato, and onion salad. This one is one of my favorites. The prep for this one, again, another cucumber. This time we are cutting it completely differently. What I'm doing is slicing it in half lengthways. This one's a little bit curvy, so it's a little bit difficult to do. Make sure yours is straight. Cut it into quarters, doing the same thing again. Then line these up and cut them into triangle pieces, about 2 centimeters in thickness. Doesn't really matter too much, but it is nice to have those chunky pieces. Next is 250 grams of cherry tomatoes. All we're doing with these is slicing them in half. If you're using different types of tomatoes, you can slice them into quarters or chop them up however you like. If you don't even want to use cherry tomatoes, you can change it up completely. But I do recommend just using the regular ones. They're nice and easy to get, and they're quite cheap. We then also need another half of red onion. Lay this in the half moon position and then thinly slice the whole way across. Exactly the same method as we did with the first recipe. When you get to the 3/4 mark, just flip it down, continue cutting safely. You should have these nice thin pieces. What I have here is 2 grams of dill, parsley, and mint. Beautiful combination, and it really does smell fantastic. All I'm doing with these is tearing them up with my hands. You'll smell all of those aromatics coming out of this. You can chop it, but it's easier to do it with hands. Save the dishes as well. Let's then get all of that into a bowl with the cucumber. Let's then pop this out of the way. And into another bowl, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of red wine vinegar, 1.5 teaspoons of onion powder, and 1 clove of garlic that's been run on a microplane. Let's then give this a quick mix, concentrating on breaking up that garlic. And then whilst mixing, just going to slowly drizzle in about 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil. This is just going to create a very basic vinaigrette that goes absolutely beautiful on this salad. Do also recommend giving it a little bit of a vigorous whisk. That way it will all come together. This can then be added into the salad. Add in a touch of sea salt flakes, as well as some cracked black pepper. 10 cracks worth. And all we need to do is mix everything together. Make sure everything's covered in that vinaigrette and all of those herbs are broken up, as well as the onion. And what I love most about this salad is it's so fragrant. So many nice flavors going on, like the freshness of the herbs and that vinaigrette. You can just smell the acidity in there, but it's not overpowering. It is just absolutely beautiful. Let's then get this one served up as well. And this one looks really nice put on a flat plate and then spread out. Put it as like a table filler. It goes really well with pretty much everything. With all of those done, it's now time to test them, see which one's the best. I don't really know how to say dig in 3 times. I think that's a little bit unnecessary. But with that all done, we can then dig in. Now, just before I give a winner, I want to say that all 3 of these salads have a different purpose. This viral one, I wouldn't serve it any other way. It's probably just a meal on its own, and at the very best, put it in a sandwich or something like that. This Korean-inspired one, it's a beautiful side dish, and it goes with all things Asian food. And then this one here, just one of those all-rounders, and it goes with pretty much everything. Use it as a table filler, and like I said, they all have a purpose. Now, the number one for me, and I'm not being biased, is of course the one that's in my book. I have to say it. It is delicious. It goes with everything. It's fresh and easy to make. Then the second one has to be the Korean-inspired one. It's just as good. It is beautiful as well. So much flavor going on in there. And it's not overpowering on the chili as well. That gochugaru is just made from the outsides of the chili, so it's not spicy at all. Last but not least is the viral one. Just everything tastes the same, if I'm being honest with you. The MSG is overkill as well. It is delicious. I'm not slagging it off or anything like that. All 3 of them are delicious, and I do recommend trying them for yourself, and you can decide which one is best. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, consider subscribing, and leave a comment for the algorithm if you haven't already. And I'll see you on the next one.